With ClickOrlando.com, this is News 6 Mornings at 6, getting results.
Breaking news, Ian, now a hurricane as it takes aim toward Florida. The new track just coming in.
We have declared a state of emergency for all 67 counties.
We have live team coverage pinpointing the storm's path and how local families are already preparing for potential impacts. Good morning on your Monday. It's already 6 a.m. I'm Bridget Ellison.
And I'm Justin Mormouth. Crystal is off. Trooper Steve watching the roads for us. And meteorologist Troy Bridges with the latest data on Ian just coming in.
Everyone wants to know what we'll expect. Let me go ahead and tell you. Starting Wednesday, we will have the chance for tropical storm force winds for most of central Florida, some bands of heavy rain, even the possibility of some tornadoes developing. Mainly, though, that happens as we get into Thursday and Friday. But the first impacts will be Wednesday through Thursday and Friday if this holds on its current track. Again, the track will change, but it hasn't changed much over the past 24 hours. Right now, a Category 1 hurricane, as it has strengthened, all the models and the cone will get more and more accurate. Right now, moving into very warm water, so it will rapidly intensify to a Category 3 major hurricane within the next day or so, approaching Cuba and then moving over Cuba, strengthening because of all the warm water in the Gulf of Mexico. Very little interaction with land and plenty of fuel to work with. So a Category 4 hurricane likely Tuesday afternoon on into Wednesday, and then we'll see some of those overspreading impacts if this cone holds true. And again, all of central Florida, except for far southern Brevard County, included in the cone, a possible landfall somewhere along the west coast, or even making a landfall near Tampa Bay and moving into central Florida, because anywhere within this cone, that thing could go. Here are the models. Not in great agreement yet, but I do think now that it has become a hurricane, we'll begin to see more agreement, and we'll see if this begins to shift farther off to the east or farther back to the west, anywhere within this zone. We're going to watch it closely. I have been spending the last hour putting together county by county impacts. I'm going to show you some early ideas of what we could see heading into Wednesday through Friday. Let's check on the roads and head over to traffic safety expert Stephen Montiero.
Trooper Steve's Pinpoint Traffic Report is brought to you by Napleton Automotive.
Thank you, Troy. Right now, Sky 6 is over that crash westbound I-4 at Maitland Boulevard. You can see your left lane is closed here. They have opened up that secondary travel lane. So only one lane now closed westbound. Again, this is leaving Seminole County headed towards Orange right at the Maitland 414 overpass there. So your express lanes, you can tell, not affected by this. But traffic slightly delayed. It's not a huge delay, but maybe 3, 4, 5 extra minutes if you can this morning. Make sure you just leave on time so then you don't show up late. Melbourne out on the east side looking pretty good. I-95 northbound into Brevard, center portions of Brevard County, Bellwood, Port St. John, and Sharps looking pretty good. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Trooper Steve. As Troy just mentioned, whether we get a direct hit or not, Ian's impacts will be felt across central Florida this week, and that's leading to serious concerns in flood-prone areas. So sandbags are being offered in many places for families worried about their properties. Mark Lehman is live at one of those locations in Lake County this morning. Recent rain has left the ground very saturated, Mark.
Yes, and that's the big concern we've been hearing from officials, not only here in Lake County, but all over central Florida. Ian will likely be close enough to bring in heavy rain to the area. With concerns about flooding, many are preparing.
Thank you, Mark. Over the weekend, Governor DeSantis expanded a state of emergency to all of Florida's 67 counties. And
state and federal leaders are not waiting to get equipment in place. News 6 got a look inside the Orange County Convention Center yesterday, where FEMA staged nearly 60 ambulances. The governor has also waived the weight restrictions on trucks so other supplies can be positioned where they're needed most.
We are loading, and by today we will have loaded 360 trailers with more than 2 million meals and more than 1 million gallons of water to be ready to be sent into impacted areas.
Even if you're not necessarily right in the eye of the path of the storm, there's going to be pretty broad impacts throughout the state. You're going to have wind, you're going to have water, there could be flooding on the east coast of Florida as a result of this. It's a big storm.
And the governor has authorized emergency refills of prescriptions for the next 30 days and urged everyone to keep close tabs on the storm's path.
And the potential impact of Ian is already leading to a rush for supplies at local stores. Shoppers began getting ready over the weekend, leaving some shelves empty. Ezzy Castro continues our live team coverage, and Ezzy, long lines will likely pick up again today.
Yeah, that's a high possibility, Justin, especially since several stores run out of supplies such as water. But that just tells you that people aren't taking any chances and they are preparing ahead of the storm.
And no matter what Ian brings our way, News 6 will have you covered on air and online. Now is also the time to make sure you have our Pinpoint Hurricane Tracker app downloaded. You can get a push alert every time a new track is issued and look at the latest models anytime. Our Pinpoint weather team is also doing live chats throughout the day, answering your questions. We'll have one coming up at 8:15 this morning. You can take part on clickorlando.com, our News 6 Plus app for your smart TV, along with our YouTube and Facebook pages.
Also developing, one person is dead after Orlando police say a fight led to gunfire at an apartment complex. This was the scene yesterday off Lake Margaret Drive near Cimarron Boulevard. The victim died at the hospital. Police say the shooter stayed at the scene, but there's no word on whether that person is facing criminal charges.
The man arrested after Daytona Beach police say road rage may have led to a man's death should face a judge today.
All right, 6:09, back to your forecast. Meteorologist Troy Bridges and Hurricane Ian. So, Troy, you're looking closely at this cone here, and it really starts to get wider as it gets closer to land.
And look at the bottom of this cone. As we show you that, it's fairly tight. It's getting closer together, and that will be the trend over the next couple of days, even later today. We may see this cone thin out even more, which could exclude a little bit more of our western zones. We'll watch to see if that happens. Either way, we do expect all of Central Florida to deal with at least some tropical storm force wind gusts starting as early as Wednesday if this cone stays on track. But anywhere within the cone, you could see that center line or the center of circulation of this storm move in. A possible Category 3 hurricane near Tampa Bay as early as Thursday morning, but getting those impacts Wednesday first with those outer bands and then continuing to move on through. Let's check on the roads and head over to traffic safety expert Trooper Steve as Pinpoint Traffic brought to you by Napleton Automotive.
Breaking it down.
Trying hard.
I appreciate that. And
Thank
if you
you.
live in that county and you want to know about your city, he just answered it. So you don't need then the city specific. Things looking pretty good out here. Westbound I-4, much better. Everyone is gone from that earlier crash. All your lanes are back open. No one's hanging out on the shoulder anymore. Sky 6 showing us we are good to go. Ground level showing no delays anymore this morning at I-4 in Maitland, so that crash icon will go away. Over in Brevard County, things east and west along 528 and 407. No problems this morning. Christmas and Bithlow, good morning to you. State Road 50 up to speed. I'm not tracking any further delays. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Trooper Steve. We'll see you in a few minutes to answer a viewer question.
Today, making sure you're prepared if a storm heads our way.
Plus, a driver arrested after a head-on crash. What troopers say the man did before driving the wrong way on a busy local road.
You're watching News 6 Mornings. Here's a live look from the Orlando Health Camera. We'll be right back.
This morning's bus stop forecast is brought to you by Bogan Munz & Munz. We're pinpointing the tropics. Depend on Chief Meteorologist Tom Sorrells and the News 6 weather team to track the storm to protect you. We're monitoring the storm as it develops so you know exactly where and when it'll affect your area. Trust Pinpoint Doppler radar to deliver accurate, detailed information on each of the possible threats facing your neighborhood. Get instant updates on social, Clicko, News 6 Plus, or in your News 6 Pinpoint weather app throughout the storm. News 6, getting results. Live with Bridget Ellison, Justin Warmoth, Crystal Moyer, meteorologist Troy Bridges, and your traffic safety expert, Trooper Steve. This is News 6 Mornings, getting results.
6:15, time for Ask Trooper Steve, where we answer the questions you send in. And Steve, anytime a storm threatens our area, being prepared is just so critical.
Absolutely. So that's why we're talking about this specifically.
New this morning, a man's in jail after troopers say he caused a wrong-way crash while driving drunk in Brevard County, sending 3 people to the hospital. Photos from Highway Patrol showed damage yesterday on US 1 in Titusville. Troopers say Brian Holofield drove his SUV into oncoming traffic, hitting a car head-on. The passenger in the SUV and both people in the car went to the hospital with serious injuries. According to Highway Patrol, Holofield's blood alcohol level was more than twice the legal limit. He's being held on a $76,000 bond. And the storm that was once Hurricane Fiona is being blamed for at least 1 death on Canada's east coast. Officials in Nova Scotia and Newfoundland say dozens of homes are destroyed and hundreds of thousands of people are without power. No word on how long it will take to restore service.
That storm did a number, and now we have Hurricane Ian to talk about. Meteorologist Troy Bridges has the latest on Ian as new data begins to come in. Troy, I mean, If you're a Floridian, you just have to be prepared.
That's right. All of Central Florida is still in the cone, except for far, far southern Brevard. We could see that tighten up and see fewer counties in the cone, but we can't count on that. This thing will strengthen very quickly. It did become, as of the 5 a.m. advisory this morning, a Category 1 hurricane. Here is the 7-day forecast. As we get results, rain chances increase every day. Again, 50% today, going up to 70% tomorrow, 90% Wednesday, 80% Thursday, with highs in the mid, even some low 80s. Let's check on the roads and head over to traffic safety expert Trooper Steve as Pinpoint Traffic, brought to you by Napleton Automotive.
We're in better shape across Central Florida. That earlier crash, all gone. Sky 6 cruising over I-4 Fairbanks area, east and westbound. Pretty much all clear this morning on a Monday. Just keep in mind, a lot of people prepping for a lot of things later this week. So just take it nice and easy. This is I-4 at Maitland. You can see much better than what we were earlier. Everything in the green. So your I-4 drive times at 6:21 in the morning. Osceola Parkway to downtown, 17-minute drive. This is really nice, and 14 minutes from Lake Mary. Brevard, Mims area looking pretty good. US 1 up towards, headed pretty much into Volusia this morning. No issues. New Smyrna Beach checking out okay. 44 east and westbound if you're headed towards DeLand or north towards Daytona. Nothing going to slow you down. DeLand, good morning to you. Westbound I-4 towards 472 up to speed. And then even Orange City, your city, checking out nice. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Steve. NASA is set to attempt a first-of-its-kind mission.
At the bottom of the hour, how today's test could shape future responses to asteroids near Earth.
First, though, gas prices dropping, at least for now. How experts say storm activity in the Gulf could lead to changes at the pump. Up next.
This portion of the news is sponsored by the Flooring Center. Breaking news where you are instantly. Turn on push notifications in the News 6 app and always stay safe and informed.
6:25 now. In your consumer news, gas prices continue to fall in Florida, but AAA says uncertainty surrounding Ian could bring some price changes. New numbers from the Auto Club overnight show drivers in Florida paying $3.38 per gallon on average, down 3 cents in the past week. Analysts say future gas prices depend on oil supply as Ian moves into the Gulf.
All but one game is in the books in Week 3 of the NFL season, and Florida's 3 teams each took part in exciting matchups. We start with a thriller in Miami between two 2-0 teams.
Now 6:26 still to come. We continue team coverage on Hurricane Ian as the storm threatens Florida.
Meteorologist Troy Bridges pinpointing the brand new track.
Plus, growing concerns in flood-prone areas. We're live with preparations already underway in several local counties.
And pushing to make downtown Orlando safer. The new rules set to take effect if leaders pass the proposal today.
You're watching News 6 Mornings, getting results for all of Central Florida on the air and around the clock on clickorlando.com.
This portion of the news is sponsored by D5 Teeth Implant Centers. Live, this is News 6 Mornings, getting results.
Breaking news, Ian now a hurricane. The system just upgraded as it continues a path toward Florida. Troy's pinpointing the latest forecasted track.
Plus, from sandbags to supplies, this morning we have live team coverage as Central Florida prepares for the possible impacts from the storm. Good morning to you, Central Florida. The time now is 6:30. I'm Justin Wormuth.
And I'm Bridget Ellison. Thanks for staying with us on this Monday. Crystal's off today. We want to start with meteorologist Troy Bridges and the latest on Ian.
Yeah, Ian is a hurricane now, a Category 1 with winds at 75 miles per hour. It will rapidly intensify today into tomorrow, becoming a Category 3 major hurricane as it approaches Cuba. Let's check on the roads and head over to traffic safety expert Stephen Montiero.
Trooper Steve's Pinpoint Traffic Report is brought to you by Napleton Automotive.
Troy, I also read something somewhere. A track is not a forecast, correct?
Right,
it's just, hey, this is where it
anywhere
could
within
go.
that cone, this thing could go. So it still covers all of Central Florida.
Just trying to back you up on that a little bit.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. I-4 looking pretty good. Sky 6 cruising around out there. Just past Sand Lake, you have I-Drive off to the left side of your TV screen, and then Turkey Lake off to the right side. Next major intersection is going to be the 528 area. Things flowing pretty smooth out here. We had an earlier little mess off to the right shoulder. That got cleared up about an hour and a half ago. 408 at I-4, the heart right here of Central Florida. Things moving pretty smooth east and westbound. Your I-4 drive time still in the green. Very nice and early on a Monday. Osceola Parkway to downtown, only 17 minutes. Keep in mind, that's at the speed limit. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Trooper Steve. As Troy's been telling us, Ian strengthened to a hurricane as it continues a path toward Florida.
And with parts of the area already soaked from recent rain, there's growing concern over the threat of serious flooding. Mark Lehman joins us live from Mineola. And Mark, many people say it's better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah, a lot of people are telling us it's a lesson they've learned from previous storms. That's why they're taking efforts right now to prepare. With the ground already saturated, many are worried that rain from Hurricane Ian will bring water into their homes.
Thank you, Mark. And Lake County Schools is already telling parents to prepare to have their kids home for 2 days this week. The district says it's tentatively scheduled an early release day tomorrow and 2 days of school closures Wednesday and Thursday. District leaders say they're making the move in case schools need to be used as shelters, but they also say the plan is subject to change. Now, as for the other districts, Orange and Osceola counties say that school will be in session today and tomorrow. Then they'll reevaluate. Seminole County says it'll update parents tonight.
And even though the storm is hitting on the Gulf Coast, students at Bethune-Cookman University and Daytona Beach have been told to evacuate campus by noon today. School leaders say they're concerned about the potential for flooding there. Classes will move online starting tomorrow. Even if Central Florida doesn't get a direct impact from Ian, we'll likely still feel effects of the storm in the form of wind and rain. Emergency officials are urging people to prepare now, including stocking up on some key supplies. Our team coverage continues with News 6 reporter Ezzy Castro, and some shoppers are finding some empty shelves, Ezzy.
Yeah, that was the case for them over the weekend, Bridget. And I can tell you some shoppers started buying supplies on Friday, and long lines could pick up again this morning.
And if you haven't done so already, now is a good time to download the News 6 Pinpoint Weather app. You'll get alerts sent right to your phone, including any watches or warnings for our area. Just search WKMG in your app store. Of course, we'll also have complete coverage of Ian on air on clickorlando.com, News 6 Plus, and our YouTube channel.
Right now, police are working to figure out what led up to a shooting at an Orlando apartment complex that left one person hurt. Officers responded to Timber Sound Apartments off Raleigh Street last night. Investigators say the victim was standing outside an apartment when they were shot by someone in a passing car. The victim was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. At this point, police do not have the suspect in custody. And a second child has died after a lightning strike on Lake Fairview in Orlando. The bolt hit while a group of middle school students was out rowing on the water earlier this month. That boy had been hospitalized on life support ever since, but the injuries were too severe. The second victim, a 13-year-old, disappeared after the group's boat overturned. His body was found in the water the next day. Now let's get back to meteorologist Troy Bridges, the latest on this track with Ian, and a lot of questions remain within that cone.
Yeah, you see how wide the cone is. Now eventually, Bridget, we do know this cone will tighten up. It'll thin out, and then we'll have a better idea of exactly where this system will go. First, let's check on the roads and head over to traffic safety expert Trooper Steve. It's Pinpoint Traffic, brought to you by Napleton Automotive.
My job is to make sure you stay caffeinated and hydrated today.
I'm going to try.
Well, it's going.
Gotta get through this.
It's happening. I came in with a big bag this morning of goodies. I-4 looking pretty good this morning. Excuse me, Sky 6 just cruising around for us this morning, and that's always good when it comes to the traffic department and weather, because it lets us know if things are good for them, they should be pretty decent for you out on the road. 408 and Anderson, east and westbound. If you're all the way on the east end at Colonial, clear. Out on the west end, Turnpike, and then everything in between, no problems. Way out on the north end of the Turnpike, though, here, I-75, Wildwood, good morning to you. If you're headed southbound along the Turnpike this morning, no construction, no crashes, and you're clear all the way into the Mineola, Claremont, and Lake County area. State Road 50 out on the west side, all clear. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Trooper Steve. A crash collision millions of miles from Earth.
Still ahead, why NASA will deliberately crash a spacecraft into an asteroid and how it could play a big role in the future of space.
And while Ian threatens Florida, Puerto Rico still struggles with the impacts of Hurricane Fiona, who's now sending help to the island as millions remain without power.
This portion of the news is sponsored by the new Epic Pepperoni Stuffed Crust Pizza, only at Papa John's. No matter where you are, stay safe with severe weather updates from News 6. Turn on push notifications in the News 6 app today. Live with Bridget Ellison, Justin Warmoth, Crystal Moyer, meteorologist Troy Bridges, and your traffic safety expert, Trooper Steve. This is News 6 Mornings, getting results.
If you're just joining us, Ian is now a hurricane, and the storm is forecast to rapidly gain even more strength as it gets closer to the Florida coast. Troy is pinpointing the new track and the major questions that still remain about the impact we'll see. His full forecast is coming up in about 3 minutes.
And while Florida is focusing on Ian, Puerto Rico is trying to recover from Hurricane Fiona. Officials say as many as 45% of people are still without power more than a week after the storm made landfall.
All right, 646, turning back to your forecast with meteorologist Troy Bridges.
Yeah.
I know you want to talk about that.
I mean,
it's wild stuff.
Yeah, it is.
But
we got other acts of nature we got to worry about, of course.
Yes.
That's absolutely true.
I mean, we can't get a break, can
And
we?
we can only control what we can control, which is being informed and prepared.
Preach. Thank you for that. I love that attitude. Absolutely. We are going to be pinpointing the latest on Ian through the day as it strengthens. Justin mentioned it a moment ago. It is now in an environment where it doesn't have those upper level winds to tear it apart like it did for part of the weekend. It also will not interact very much with land. Land helps to tear these storms up a little bit, and because it's going to be moving through water most of its track, it will strengthen rapidly. Right now, a Category 1 hurricane with winds at 75 miles per hour, some gusts near 90 miles per hour, bearing down on the Grand Cayman Island and then eventually pushing into the far western sides of Cuba. Again, not moving over much of Cuba, so not interacting with land very much. Now back close to home today, we're in the mid-70s for many spots. Here's a look at the pinpoint accurate forecast into the next 12 hours. And as we take you into it, we warm to a high of 90 degrees with rain chances at 50% through the afternoon. Highs area-wide near 90 degrees, upper 80s along the coast, 90 for Sanford and in Orlando today. Again, that 50% coverage of rain as the sea breezes fire up. Here's the 7-day forecast. As we get results, we'll see those rain chances going up for the next several days, 70% Tuesday, 90% Wednesday, 80% Thursday. Look at those highs in the low 80s by Thursday. Let's check on the roads and head over to traffic safety expert Trooper Steve as Pinpoint Traffic brought to you by Napleton Automotive.
Thank you, Troy. We appreciate you very much. I-4, pretty clear this morning. Usually when weather's busy, I'm busy, but no, it's a little different game right now. But east and westbound, nothing to report. Just make sure you're paying attention this morning. Currently not tracking any issues. That was the west side. This is the east side. 417 right at 408. So we're just north here of Curry Ford, Lake Underhill area. Things running pretty smooth across 417. Up in Seminole, south towards Orange, and then into Osceola County. You're not going to run into any trouble along 417. On the west side of I-4, Edgewater, good morning to you. North and southbound there, 441 through Lockhart, Rosemont, and then into the College Park area. West side of Four Corners, I'm talking 192, 27 north and southbound here. Pretty clear. How do you know it's a normal day? Because we have our eastbound delays over by Celebration right now. From 27 into Reunion area, which is 429, we are slow. But outside of that, then we're up to speed. Osceola, you're back to school after Friday being off. How can we tell? Because Pleasant Hill, it's gridlock. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Trooper Steve. News 6 is hosting a special screening of a new documentary called Billy Flanagan, and we want you to join us. The film is about a Disney performer who found a new way to spread joy during the pandemic when the parks were closed. We're giving News 6 insiders a chance to win tickets to attend the VIP premiere Saturday, as well as discounted tickets for a Sunday matinee screening. For details, go to clickorlando.com/insider.
All eyes on Hurricane Ian as the storm continues on a path towards Florida.
And how many in Central Florida are preparing next as we check our big stories.
You deserve to hear the best. That's why News 6 has partnered up with Mix 105.1. Listen to your pinpoint weather updates on Mix 105.1 while we pinpoint your weather on the go. Some teams are just better together.
It's 6:54. Let's check our big story, starting with Troy and now Hurricane Ian on a path to Florida.
Hurricane Ian moving very close to Cuba today into tonight as a major Category 3 likely. Right now, it's a Category 1, but it will rapidly strengthen, and then the cone does include most all of Central Florida. Today, we'll see a 50% coverage of rain and a high temperature near 90 degrees. Mark?
And the current track of Ian is raising serious concerns about flooding in Central Florida. Many spent the weekend picking up sandbags. The worry is that with all the recent rain we've had, it won't take much to leave flood-prone areas underwater. And some spots along the St. Johns River are already at minor flood stage. Here in Lake County, inmates will be on hand to help some people filling sandbags. We posted a list of all the sandbag locations on clickorlando.com. Ezzy?
Emergency officials say no matter what impacts Ian may bring, you should still be prepared. Now, over the weekend, we saw empty shelves with batteries and even generators going quick, and some stores are hoping to restock in time, but ongoing shortages could affect that. Now, the big takeaway here is that don't wait last minute to get all of the items that you need. Bridget.
Ezzy, a second middle school student injured after a lightning strike, has died. The group was rowing on Lake Fairview earlier this month when the lightning bolt hit, causing their boat to capsize.
And we're waiting to find out if anyone's facing charges after a deadly shooting in Orlando. The victim was found last night along Lake Margaret Drive. Police say the suspect stayed at the scene. Trooper Steve.
For a Monday, we're looking pretty good across Central Florida. Skies looking pretty nice, just as Troy has predicted for this Monday, at least, right? So your I-4 drive time's pretty clear all across Central Florida. Look at that. I-4, 417 in the Turnpike in the green.
All right, thanks, and thanks for joining us this morning. If you're on the go, get those updates anytime on clickorlando.com.
CBS Mornings is up next. Hope you have a great day.
Gorgeous for now.
We watch Channel 6 News every morning, and I'm like, okay, I got to give it a shot. They get results, absolutely get results.